Welcome to The Passion Pod with your host, Chris Johnson. Thanks for joining us. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the feature presentation.
Welcome back, friends. Today we're sitting next to a little man-made lake at this music festival. This is not in Studio P, aka my dining room where I record a lot, or in Los Angeles, which seems to be the only other place I go. We're just outside of Eau Claire at Blue Ox Festival, so shouts to them for the free beer, and I get to be back in the artist lounge with one of the artists. So who are you?
My name's Siri, and I perform under the name Humbird.
But Humbird's not just you, right?
Sometimes it's just me, but often it's also a band of 4 people. It's kind of fluid.
Okay, who's all in the band?
Yeah. The kind of consistent players and collaborators are Pat Keene on bass and vocals.
We're going to see him soon.
Yeah. And then Peter Quersfeld on drums, and then Adeline Stry on the woodwinds and the synthesizer, and she sings too.
What kind of woodwinds? I played tenor saxophone growing up, so...
Yeah, she's on sax, flute, and clarinet.
So do you think that people who do more than one instrument are automatically more talented than somebody who only does one?
It depends on how good at those instruments they are, honestly.
I'm just blown away when I see it, though, because I feel like in order to be on a level of professionalism to play at a festival, how can you be that good to do that on that level with more than one instrument?
Yeah, that's impressive. I feel like when people have like the depth of skill where they can kind of pick up anything and be really just high caliber and awesome at it, I
just wonder how they balance it when they're trying to like play music and write songs. Like, how do they know which one they're playing what with?
You know, so I would never play like piano at a festival. I'm not that good, but I do write songs on piano sometimes, and depending on your mood and the kind of song you want to write, sometimes the instrument picks you. You're like, oh, I need to write this on electric guitar, or I need to write this on a classical guitar, or I need to sit down at the piano. So sometimes you just have to listen to like the creative whims around you.
Sometimes it just needs more cowbell, and that's how you know. So how would you describe your sound? If somebody and we're going to listen to your music, but if somebody hadn't listened to it, in order to be a successful musician, you kind of have to have your own sound to a certain degree, right? Yeah. So how would you describe yours?
I often describe my sound as experimental folk. I would call it like Midwest folk music, kind of in the traditional sense. I mean, folk music is anything, like music of the people, of course, but kind of when I say folk, I'm thinking a lot about like Woody Guthrie, and also just like the traditional American folk music canon, and people like John Prine and Joni Mitchell, Bob Dylan, who like kind of took these like verse chorus ballads and started expanding them, and it's kind of fun to listen and study those artists and take it my own way.
John Prine's family came into my skateboard shop. They were staying at the Lakely, and he was performing or whatever. Yeah. And they came into the shop, and like, I asked who they were because they looked like they didn't belong necessarily, and they told me that, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. You know, and then, I didn't think anything of it. And then I went home. Well, I guess I don't live with my dad, so it's not that. But I was talking to my dad, you know, and I was like, yeah, John Prine, whatever. And he's like, oh, really? So I didn't realize like how big of a legend he is. Yeah. Well, I don't usually come around. I guess I've been to this festival, but this isn't the type of music that I listen to consistently. Yeah. So it's kind of crazy how if you aren't in that particular lane, you're like not familiar at all with all these different people. So this is not just bluegrass, right? No. Because I know I was talking to Daniel Donato briefly, not on mic, about it, and he was like, yeah, I mean, we're not even bluegrass and we're here. Yeah. So what is all like here?
That's a good question for someone who knows more about this festival. Honestly, this is my first time here.
Oh, this is your first time performing?
Yeah, I mean, I've known about it for a while, and I always kind of thought it was like exclusively a bluegrass fest, but then they asked us, and I was like, oh. I mean, we love summertime festivals. We love Eau Claire, Wisconsin, so let's
what's your tie to here? Or you live in Minneapolis area?
I live in Minneapolis. Okay. Yeah, we recorded a record here. Actually, we've made a few records in Eau Claire. There's like kind of a cool hub of musicians and producers and studios, and I like the woods, and I'm from not too far, so it's easy to come here, and I don't know, it just keeps happening because there's some magic, I guess.
What's the coolest thing about performing here so far for you? What's
in Eau Claire specifically?
Yeah. Well, but Blue Ox.
Oh, at Blue Ox, yeah. You know, we rolled in today. Our set was at 11:30 a.m., which at most festivals is not a good sign.
That's an early time.
That's early. You're like, oh, we're just getting the music started. No one's really going to be there. But we rolled in today, and people seemed really excited and into it, and we're like awake and just ready for music. So that was awesome. That was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, people stayed up all night, but I think 11:30 is kind of the time where they're waking up, getting their coffee, and this type of music is kind of perfect to ease into your day a little bit. So where can people best follow you, find your music, listen to it? If they wanted to reach out and ask a question, since this is such a short thing, how would they get a hold of you?
Social media is great for that. I'm not like awesome at checking DMs, but people could try to ask questions that way.
If it's a legitimate question, maybe once a week you'll scroll and see something.
Maybe. I'm
So they should
in a
send
love-hate relationship. I don't know if that would help, honestly, but
okay.
But yeah, I mean, social media is great for staying in touch, and people can listen to the Humbird music like anywhere they stream music.
And it's just Humbird, exactly like it would sound, Humbird.
Yes.
On Instagram, that's what it is?
It's actually at Humbird, because someone else had the first one, so I just said it twice.
Yeah, I had to buy Passion Pod from somebody in India.
You
it was
did.
Ruthless. Yeah, but that's a story for another day.
Dang.
So anyways, after this festival, what's next up for you?
I actually leave on Monday. I'm touring the UK and Ireland.
Whoa.
It's my first tour over there, so I'm really excited.
First international or just first Europe?
First international and first Europe, yeah.
Who's all going?
It's actually just me. I'm playing solo.
You don't have a manager with you or anything? It's just you,
I'm touring with a fellow musician, so we're playing separately, but we're touring together, so it's like a co-bill, and that way we can help support each other. So I won't be totally alone.
Sure.
But
what are the cities on it?
A lot. It's like 2.5 months. So we're going to a lot of places, like all over the UK and Ireland, kind of like most of the major cities in both countries.
Well, after this, off mic, I'll tell you the cities I've been to.
Okay.
And if you want any advice as far as like what's cool around there, I've seen the not cool things and the really cool things.
Nice.
This was so cool. Talking about cool things. So thank you for coming on the show.
Oh my gosh, thanks for having me.
I would love for you to pick out a song right now, maybe one that you performed today that we can air on the radio right now.
Yeah, we performed a song called May today, which is released and can be played on the radio. And
M-A-Y? May?
Yeah, like the month. Yeah.
Cool.
And it's a good one. I wrote it thinking about the Mississippi River. That's like the river I grew up on. But Eau Claire is such a city of rivers as well. It's a beautiful freshwater place, so that's a good fitting song.
Do you hold your breath when you cross that bridge? Is that a thing that only us from Eau Claire do? Everyone I know, when we drive over that bridge at the Mississippi, you try to hold your breath the whole time. And
Really?
It's a thing, seriously.
Okay, I never learned that. As like a Twin Cities kid, we hold our breaths in the tunnels, like the I-94 tunnel.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, anyways, thanks again. Let's get to the song.
as I sleep. So many nights I couldn't breathe. May someone hold you as you are and meet you where you stand. May they wash away the hurt of what we cannot understand. And while the seasons never stay, this is yours, the month of May. What if all the things we lose come back to us someday?
Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Passion Pod. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We'll see you soon.